Hi, this is Lisa Franzen-Castle, and I work at the UNL Panhandle Research and Extension Center in Scottsbluff, Nebraska as the Extension Nutrition Specialist. My doctorate's in nutrition, and I'm also a registered dietitian. Thanks for joining the podcast series, My Pyramid: Steps to a Healthier You, and this presentation is going to focus on the milk group. So this will be the blue slice of the pyramid. And so when we think about what types of foods are included, that would be all fluid milk products and many foods made from milk. So foods made from milk that also retain their calcium content. So that's going to be important for the next point, where the foods that aren't included would be things that are made from milk that have little to no calcium. So this would be like cream cheese, cream, and butter. So the things we like to add to stuff, the condiment type stuff, those are not considered to be in the milk group. More so discretionary calories. So when we talk about the milk group, there's selection tips, just like when we talked about the meat and beans group. So you want to choose more often the fat-free, the low-fat yogurt and cheese in the milk. And discretionary calories, this would be considered milk or yogurt that is not fat-free or cheese that's not low-fat. This would also include sweetened milk products, so like flavored milk, yogurt, drinkable yogurt, and desserts. And the reason they're considered discretionary calories is because they're a lot higher in fat and calories than the fat-free or the low-fat versions of milk, yogurt, and cheese. And also, when we think about lactose intolerance, because I know I have some issues with lactose sometimes, so there are lactose-free and lower lactose products available. And these also include hard cheeses and yogurt, because I know I can't tolerate milk and ice cream, but I can have cheese and I can eat yogurt. Those things don't bother me as much. And then also there's enzyme preparations available that can lower lactose content. And there's also alternatives, like I drink Silk soy milk, so I have that with my cereal every morning instead of using regular milk. So I'm still getting, it's calcium fortified and the protein and things like that, and getting my calcium for the day through that. So when you look at my pyramid recommendations for milk, the amount needed just depends on age. And so when we look at the daily recommendation for women or men across the age group, it's 3 cups for everybody. So when you look at the differences on what you need from the milk group, it's more so different for younger audiences for the youth, but for women and men, it's 3 cups across the board. And when we look at what counts as a cup, for milk, 1 cup counts as a cup, or a half pint container, or a half cup evaporated milk. For yogurt, a regular container of 8 ounces counts as a cup. But a lot of times the containers aren't 8 ounces. So a small container that's 6 ounces is actually 3/4 of a cup, or a snack container, the 4-ounce size, that's a half cup. And then for cheese, when we look at common portions and cup equivalents, 1 slice of hard cheese equals a half cup of milk. 1 slice of processed cheese is only a 1/3 cup of milk. And then a half cup of cottage cheese equals a 1/4 cup of milk. And again, if you want to look at a longer list and you want to see what else is on there, mypyramid.gov has examples and has more detail about these things, as well as the other groups as well too. So when we look at the health benefits of the milk group, they help reduce risk for osteoporosis because they can help build and maintain bone mass. And also the nutrients that are provided beyond calcium is potassium. A lot of them are vitamin D fortified, as well as protein. And vitamin D is really important for regulating blood calcium levels. So that's why a lot of times you'll see vitamin D is added into a lot of products, like your vitamins, and also like with Silk, there's vitamin D and things added into it to help regulate that. And also there's a dietary trend that's been shown in research that diets that include more dairy products tend to have a higher overall nutritional quality. And so we want to talk about some tips for making wise choices for this group. So including milk as a beverage at meals is great, and try to choose the fat-free or the low-fat milk. And then for some people, this may be a little bit more difficult, because if you are used to eating, drinking whole milk, eating the 4% cottage cheese, or eating the higher fat dairy products, it might not be a good idea for you to make such a drastic change. Because I know my husband ate 4% cottage cheese every day, loves cottage cheese. So I said, why don't you just go down to the lowest fat one? You'll cut out calories and fat, you still get the nutrients. And he just looked at me like, I can't do that. You're going to take all the fun out of my cottage cheese. So I said, okay, what's the next step down? Why don't you tear down to what that is, see if you can get used to that, and then keep trying to go lower. So he kind of went back and forth between the 4% and the 2% cottage cheese, but now all he eats is a 2% cottage cheese because he changed his preference for that food by gradually going to the 2%. So now he likes it, and that's all we buy. So the same thing with whole milk. If you're drinking whole milk, go to 2%. Because if you go from whole to skim, it might be way too much of a change, and you're just going to be like, this is gross, I'm not doing this. So it's better to make gradual tiered changes that are actually going to last and that you can live with. So it's important to think about when you're making changes like that. Also, with oatmeal and heart cereal, try adding fat-free or low-fat milk instead of water. So if it's something you do anyway, just switch what you add into it. Also, snacks have fat-free or low-fat yogurt as a snack. And so I like to get the thick and creamy yogurt because it tastes like pudding. So it's a really great thing to have after dinner as a snack. So I feel like I have a luxury item, but it's actually a lot more nutritious, and it's got protein in it and the calcium. And also yogurt dip, what we talked about with the vegetables and the fruit. For fruits and vegetables, use a yogurt dip to dip them in. And also continuing with those tips for making wise choices, a quick dessert could be cut up fruit with flavored yogurt. Something to try. And also shredded low-fat cheese. You can put it on casseroles, soups, stews, or vegetables. And this is something that I really like to do because I have those issues with lactose. I'm always trying to find new ways to increase my dairy for the day. So I have shredded low-fat cheese on hand. There's lots of different ones you can try. And sprinkling it on my meat or sprinkling it on my vegetables, it's a really great way to increase from that group. And also baked potatoes. I've had several people tell me that they've tried fat-free or low-fat yogurt in place of sour cream on baked potatoes, and I actually had someone tell me they did it with enchiladas and they really liked it. So it's just changing the way you think about things and trying to stretch your imagination when it comes to what you use for a condiment, for a dip, for something to put on top of a potato or an enchilada. And so in summary for this group, food labels again are your friend. So sometimes if you're having, you don't want to make that change, you're used to what you're eating, you've got the whole milk or your high-fat dairy stuff, really take some time when you're in the grocery store to look at the different labels and see what a difference there is in the calories and the fat and the sodium. And even amongst the cheeses, there's a big difference in the sodium content. So take some time and study the foods that you eat and try to make healthier versions of what you're doing. It doesn't mean you have to stop drinking milk or stop eating cheese, but just try to do a healthier version. And then also, like I said, choose low-fat dairy and make gradual changes that will last, because sometimes cold turkey doesn't work for everybody. So it's better to make those gradual tiered changes that aren't going to seem so drastic, and it's something you can do, it's doable. It's something that you can really make a change and you're doing something that's better for you. So thanks so much for watching, and remember to be brave and to broaden your food horizons and try new things.
Don't let your health slip